And a good day to you, Explorer Nation. John Lynskey, your ambassador for alumni affairs, here with season 7, lucky number 7, episode 2 of Looking Back with Lynskey, proudly sponsored by the Albert Bartholomew family. Thank you, Albert. Our special guest today from the amazing class of 1994, 25 years, quarter of a century as an Explorer educator, math teacher extraordinaire, geometry, trig, algebra, all that math stuff. Taught some English too, which we'll get into. 17 years as a football coach. Maybe, God bless him, the most devoted Dolphin fan I've ever met. A master of improv, which we'll also delve into. He wears many hats. It's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Andy Aviles to the podcast. Andy, thanks for being here, bro.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Lynskey. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be on LBL here. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this. Just talking, it's like a walk down memory lane and everything that I've been through. Like I said, quarter of a century. When we spoke on the phone, I was like, oh my goodness, he's right. It's a quarter of a freaking century. Like, this is nuts,
How do these things happen? It's crazy. Now, we were also talking the other day. You went to Columbus. First off, where did you go before Columbus, Andy? Where'd you come from?
I went to St. Kevin Catholic School out there in West, like Bird Road and 137th, right?
Yeah.
Kindergarten through 8th. So I had a lot of my friends came in as well to class of 94. It was pretty much like a landslide of every boy in that graduating class. Almost all of them went to Columbus. So
it was preordained for you.
You could say that. You could say that. Yeah.
So,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So my parents gave me the choice because, at that time there were competing schools, right? And I had the choice of a place down by some canal over there, and I had a choice between that and the sea, and it was always a no-brainer to me. I was like, please don't make me go there. Don't make me go there.
Andy, the heart of downtown Westchester, or the backwoods of Sweetwater, please. What are we doing?
And none of the weeds and frogs back there, bro.
No, absolutely the right choice. What a time to be at Columbus High School, the early to mid 90s. Oh my. Even as a teacher, I look forward to going to school back then just to see what was going to happen on a given day.
You never knew.
And your class, a lot of great characters.
Yeah.
A lot of talk about your memories, the kaleidoscope of memories of Columbus mid 90s. Andy.
Oh yeah. It was quite the experience. I'll tell you this, I was not prepared for it. But I said, oh, this is how it is around here. I like this place, that kind of thing. So I'll give you a little, one of my first memories was freshman year. Obviously I come in, and within the first few classes or whatever, I had Mr. Holtman. You may have remembered.
Yes.
So Mr. Holtman was fond of discipline, shall we say, right? Okay. And there were instances where, class of 94 wasn't as respectful as we could have been to poor Mr. Holtman. Not me. I was very quiet. I was just kind of like off on my, But, there were instances where Mr. Holtman had to sort of exert his authority and remind people who he was. And, there were rumors of body surfing and, correcting manually of the tie to make sure it was buttoned, things of this nature, So it was a wonderful time. Brother Kevin also, by the way, which I'm sure we'll talk about, I had him freshman year. So just the legend. I already knew who he was back in 8th grade and 7th grade, and everybody knew who he was, right? And just to have him in class, it was a little intimidating, with the look over the glasses. And I mean, I listen on my deathbed, I will never forget like that class, that math class that I had him in, and just everybody that was class of 94 over those 4 years, we got to know each other pretty well. And it was
Voice of an Angel. We're going to get into that too, by the way.
We'll get into the voice of an angel and the interruptions, but of course it happened on this. But no, that group of 94, man. So like I said, we were a motley crew, we had freshman field day. So fun fact, remember the earth ball and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. So fun fact, class of 94, it's, August or September, it's Miami, it's super hot, right? So we are playing with the earth ball. We got a little rowdy, what have you. We got like, okay, everybody go over there. And we got sort of separated from the main building to just calm ourselves down. At one point, we got very, very thirsty collectively, right? So we had some sort of mock riot where we sort of charged the gates and we want water, and we weren't getting any water, man. We were dying, man. It was hot, dude. That earth ball's gigantic, and it was, we want water. And dude, we were massively like disciplined. I think we were like sort of cattle herded into the gym and given a big stern talking to, and they basically canceled freshman field day for years after. I don't know when they redid it, but we were the class that caused freshman field day.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it was. There was a lot of enthusiasm back then. I think that's a good word when you're referring to Mr. Holtman. He just showed enthusiasm.
Very much so.
That's all it was. Educational enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And the hallways were not necessarily safe when you were a ninth grader.
No. So there were, a lot of, let's say, enthusiastic seniors, juniors, sophomores, right? We as freshmen learned by just strictly walking through. And if our ties were pulled up for us, hey, that's how it went. If we were told to get in uniform, that's how it went. And it was interesting back then. You didn't have the uniform that the kids do now.
Yeah,
right?
no, you had to wear a tie. That was that was it. Yeah.
I mean, there was like bare minimum requirements. Like guys would show up in like these terry cloth strips. Remember those ties?
They were beautiful.
They were great. They were great. I mean, I'm not one for fashion, but whatever. Apparently, they passed, right? And it was. We looked up to a lot of the seniors, a lot of the football players that were there. We had as maintenance. We had a lot of big guys, let's say, on campus. Ed Sanabria was one of them. I think he was class of 92.
Eddie. Yeah.
Right. Hugo Alvarez. Right. These are like big, hefty football players. And the one thing that I found really cool that I learned as I went on was like they were all about making sure that you respected where you were and your teachers, right? Like they were very adamant to keep all of us in check in the hallways, in football, whatever. Like they were on it, man. And you look up to them, you see how they run things, you see how they compose themselves and how much they love the school. And it's sort of the chips fall in from there. Like I remember we had a pep rally, and I think it was Ed Sanabria was like with a sledgehammer on a car, or it was just like, I'm like, are you kidding me? This place is awesome. It's like WWE without the face makeup, it's great, So those are the things that I really, treasured as a little freshman. It was fun, man. It was an eye-opening experience, It was cool.
Weren't you a hall attendee, Andy?
Yeah, so I was one of the guys that I can't remember what period it was. I was in charge of getting the attendance for an entire wing. This happened to be the A building, right? So back in the day, we didn't have any digital computers, forget that, right? So we had to take attendance, or the teachers, I guess, not we, I wasn't a teacher, but they had to take attendance on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
write down was absent, and they put it on the door, right? And so a student would come by and take all the papers off each of the doors. So one day, I'm going top floor of the A building, just taking papers, whatever. By the way, as a freshman, I looked like I was 9 years old. All right. You go look at the 1990 yearbook and you find me and you will not believe that I was in high school. Okay. But yes. So really baby-faced kid going down the hallway, picking up little attendance. You know, I was probably like 5'3" or something. I don't know. So I get to A26 and I notice that the door is open and there's no attendance slip. So I know I have to do my job. I have certainly been guided in that direction. Hey, you do what you're told. All right. So I get there and I hear some voices and whatnot. And I heard your voice and I sort of peek in, the door. And there you are, sort of leaning on the front of the desk, talking to the class. And it was all seniors. And there were probably some football players in there. So I peek in and I'm like, attendance? And you look over and the whole class is like, whoa, hey, come here, buddy. Yeah, come here, bro. We got attendance. And I'm like, I'm shaking. And you're great, bro. You were awesome. You're like, hey, it's okay, guys. Hey, come here, man. Come here, buddy. Come over here. I got the attendance for it. So I start walking in and they're like, oh, they're going crazy. Like, what is it? Barbarians at the gate, right?
Yeah.
So they're I'm sure they're envisioning a whole, hazing or I don't know, whatever. So I walk in and you're like, yeah, man, come on, don't pay attention to them. And they're, and you told me, I'm very nervous at this point. And you go, oh, wait a minute, shut the door first. So without even thinking, I turned around, right? Because I'd left the door open. I turned around and I go outside and I shut the door. And I'm standing outside and I'm like,
no.
Something's wrong here. And I heard the whole freaking class, I just started laughing and stuff, right? So I'm like, wait, why are they laughing? It still didn't occur to me, what I was supposed to do. So I open the door and they're like, they're dying. And oh, what an idiot. And you're there shaking your head. You were so nice, man. You were like, it's okay, buddy. Here's the attendance. Just get out of here.
Just go. Just go. Be on your way.
Yeah, just leave, man. So you probably spared me some, a pocket being ripped or God knows what.
Yeah, enthusiasm.
Was delivered. The attendance was delivered. Bottom line, man. Yeah. So it's a sample of the hallways and what you saw and stuff.
But you had a good point. The kids loved the school. They took great pride in the school, and it did go from year to year, decade to decade.
Yeah.
No question about that. So, Andy, great time at Columbus, and everybody who teaches there has their journey back.
Right.
Some of us knew we wanted to teach right away. Others of us fell into it, some a little bit of both.
Sure.
When did it cross your mind that you wanted to teach, and where does your absolute love and devotion to mathematics come from?
Yeah. Okay, that's a great question. So I was actually, I had just graduated college in 2000. I changed my major, had a bunch of credits in chemistry, math, minor in chemistry. I ended up graduating with a bachelor's in journalism, mass communication. I was looking to I'd interned at a TV station, actually. Remember Whammy?
Of course.
Yeah, they were on the beach. And
yeah.
So I was an intern for the Heat games and the broadcast. Yeah. So I was thinking of getting into that, right? I've always loved sports, football especially, right? Yeah. And it was a very hard industry to crack, right? It was like a pyramid industry in such that there are so many people on the menial level doing tasks and basically chores, right? And then there's less and less and less people until you get to the people that are on air, the talent, which is like, forget it. Like, I might have to move around to God knows where, Nebraska and all these places that have TV stations just to make my name. And then eventually. So I was looking at all that, wasn't fond of moving. and didn't know what I was going to do. I literally had no idea what I was going to do. Now, since I was a kid, I had always thought, man, teaching is really cool. Like I had an aunt who's a Spanish teacher. She retired. And I had always thought about, man, like my one of my cousins tutored me one time. So I'd always kind of liked it back in my head. So I'm working at Publix, of all things, right? I'm a back office cashier running all the money and the daily income and sending it to the bank, whatever. And I run into Georgina Diaz.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So Mrs. Diaz, who's been in the science department for years, it happened to be that I knew her daughter from St. Kevin because we both went from kindergarten to 8th grade. So she knew me already. Right. Okay. And I had her. She was my biology teacher freshman year. Right.
Okay.
So she sees me, and every now and then I would see her, and she goes, hey, we just had a lot of openings come up in Columbus. You've always been kind of a with it guy, maybe you might want to look into teaching. And I was like, you know what? That's interesting. I had always sort of thought about it. Yeah, okay. She's like, I think that you would be great for history or math or science. She didn't know, what I had graduated with, my degrees and stuff, but she put the idea there, right? So then John, like a few days later, you cannot make this stuff up, right? My friend Arturo DeMaro, Tutti, right? He graduated class of 94. Little Arturo DeMaro. Hey, bro. Yeah, right? Okay. Best friend, by the way, best man at my wedding, awesome guy, stand-up guy.
Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're both looking on, remember monster.com. So we're like, looking for jobs, whatever. And he goes, hey, Columbus has a bunch of postings for like math teachers and English teachers. And I was like, okay, this is more than a coincidence, right? Like I just spoke to Mrs. Diaz, had just talked to me about it. Tutti had just mentioned it to me. And I'm like, let me look into this, right? Because I just felt something that I wanted to scratch the surface. There was a need there, a sort of a desire. And I had always wanted to come back in some capacity,
Okay.
So I start the process, submit the application. They call me back for an interview. So at this time, Brother Kevin was coming back as the president, but they were in transition from Brother Angelo, I guess, and Brother
Pat.
Yeah, Brother Pat McNamara had not gotten there yet. So there was a little bit of a delay, and Brother Edmund, actually, God bless him, to this day, he is the same, right? He has never changed. Brother Edmund starts the interview process. And so, he calls me, Andy, hello. Yes, it seems like, and he's going over my credentials and stuff. And he interviews me. The interview went well. He's like, what would you like to teach? What is your background, et cetera? He's like, well, thank you very much. We'll be contacting you. And then I get a phone call a few days later. Yes, hello. This phone call is from Brother Kevin. He would like to speak to Andres Aviles. And I was like, oh, yes, no, this is here. So Brother Kevin gets on the phone, right? And Brother Kevin is like, your class of 94. Yeah, remember? Yeah. I'm like, oh, yes, brother, yes. It's like, listen, I remember you, Aviles, right? Oh, yes, brother. He's like, well, if you come here, all right, are you going to make us proud? Are you going to do a good job for us? And dude, John, I was like, oh, yes, of course, brother. Yes, absolutely. Like, I will run through a wall for you, right? So he calls me in. I interview for the second interview with him. Brother Pat still wasn't there, right? Okay. So they hired me, and Brother Edmund said, listen, we're going to hire you, but we have openings in English and math. I guess they had to fill some classes. So they gave me an English class and some geometry classes and an algebra 2 class. And that was it. And let me tell you, so 25 years old, don't know how the world works, unsure of my path. John, as soon as I started, I was like, I love this. This is amazing. This place is better the second time around, right?
Yeah.
I love doing what I'm doing, helping these guys out, teaching them. And I immediately, I got the itch was scratched, right? I got hooked immediately, loved it. It was amazing seeing all of my former teachers, Mr. Panzer, Brother Eugene. I never had you in class, unfortunately, but I knew you very well from all my friends. You, OB, Foyle, all those guys. I was like, oh my goodness, this is great, right? And that's it. And it's just like, I want to be here. From that point on, I knew in my heart that it's going to sound a little like, really? From that point on, I knew in my heart that that was my calling, right? That was my vocation, that God had put that in my heart. And that's something that I really wanted to do. And I stayed with it. I poured myself into it. And that's it. I mean, the rest sort of evolved based on interactions with other people and opportunities that were presented to me and stuff. But that's basically how I got here. Yeah, how I came to.
And I understand you hit it perfectly. The second time around's even better.
Right. Right.
What I find fascinating, is that there are not a lot of people that cross from both math and science into the liberal arts. That's a very unusual talent. Fred Panzer kind of had that.
Right.
But the fact that you were thinking about broadcast journalism, where you've got to be, on-air personality. I do not see Albert Einstein as an on-air personality, or Edward Teller, or Oppenheimer. They're different kinds of people. So that's a very interesting thing. So you've been a math guy for forever, but did you enjoy English teaching?
I actually did a lot. Because English gave you the freedom to, like, for example, sophomore year, I taught Julius Caesar.
Okay.
So I had a whole introductory lesson on the Roman Empire, what's going on. And I love history, right?
Yeah.
So all that stuff and all the short stories and the novels and grammar and vocab you can kind of link in to things and how you communicate. And the grammar is sort of, okay, we have to do this perfunctory stuff where everything, these are rules. But everything else gave you the liberty and the freedom to go to these really cool places in history, in time, in literature that I absolutely loved, right? I actually, you suggested a book for me that I ended up reading like 7 times. The Eagle Has Landed.
Oh,
right?
How great is that, man?
What an awesome freaking book. Okay. And again, it deals with history and this particular moment in time, and it let them sort of analyze the themes of what the author was trying to get to and how it related to World War II. And I really miss teaching English because of that. What I just,
No.
So thank you for that. I never thanked you for that, but man, that book, amazing.
Hey,
amazing.
Jack Higgins could write, man. No question. He knew how to write a suspenseful novel.
Yeah.
Talking about that, listen, history teachers, English teachers, if you can't teach history, you can't teach. Okay. What I did, look at the material I had. The real respect is for teachers of math and science, because, man, it ain't pretty. There's no bells and whistles. There's no glitz and glitter. And you guys dig in ways that, and I'm not blowing smoke, but the way that you teach and Webb teaches and Morrow teaches and Maria teaches and Wednesday, I could, the math and the science people. I mean, that is a special gift.
Yeah.
How do you, and I've watched you guys teach, and it's amazing where you can take something that to me is as dull as watching paint dry.
100%.
And you make it all work and you make it click. I guess the question is, where does that enthusiasm come from? I mean, it's pretty amazing. And you still have that enthusiasm.
Right.
A quarter of a century later.
Yeah. So in one word, it's connection, right? Even if the material is as boring and mundane, and I know some of it is like, oh my goodness, this is like, how am I going to get this across? No one cares really, like outside of this classroom, or if you're in mathematics, they're never going to see it again, right? B is kind of challenging, so I might lose them, right? So
Sure.
How do I get this point across in a way that they can apply it later? And I always relate it to, guys, I am teaching you how to think, right? This is a life skill that you're going to need. And there are things that I find extremely interesting in mathematics. So I try to get a connection. What I mean by that is I try to either bring in something from the world of science or something from history, something historical, the ancient Greeks and geometry, things like that, right?
Okay.
Try to relate it in that aspect. Most of these guys that I teach now, they're really interested in some of the scientific concepts out there. So, with geometry and trigonometry, that's really kind of easy to relate to. But at the end of the day, yeah, there are a great majority of kids that, okay, sir, this is not exciting. This is not the Vietnam War and the Gulf of Tonkin or whatever. Like, this is really we're going to do congruent triangles now. Like, I think I'd rather go to the bathroom 5 times. Like, I'm out, right? So here's what I realized, and this kind of goes back to why I went into teaching. I was majoring in chemistry for like 3.5 years, and I was going to be a chemist. And I said, you know what? I am going to lose my mind if I have to sit in a lab for Dow Chemical or something for my entire life and just sit there going over, spectral analysis or mixing chemical or titrating. No, I said, I need something engaging. So that's why I thought about sports journalism and broadcasting, right? Because I knew that I could do something where I'm communicating and click. I think that's how it happened with the teaching, communicating, right? So whenever I get into stuff like that you're mentioning, you have to be personable with the guys, and you have to relate to them, and you have to sort of communicate to them as, man to man, and sort of make it funny, make it interesting, right? Highlight the peculiarities of your personality, the peculiarities of the school, bring in stuff that happened, bring in the football game from last night, talk about the dance, talk about what's going on in the world sometimes. But you have to have the discipline to sort of ring it in eventually to what it is, the curriculum that you're teaching, whatever it is. So it's all about that engagement. It's all about that connection, right? Once they see that you're not a talking head, you're not AI, the angle will be 42 degrees. Once they get past that and they're like, oh, okay, I can relate to this guy. They click, it connects, right? And then you can level with them and say, guys, also on another level academically, like, this is a very important class because you're going to need it for pre-calculus. Your junior year is coming up. You need to have a good foundation. And that happens once you establish that sort of connection with the students, every now and then, we'll discuss what happened with the Hurricanes or the Dolphins in the past weekend. And, you get that sense of, all right, now they're invested. Now they're invested in our class, right? I've always thought, and you know this, every class is like its own little environment with its own little communities of people and sort of personalities that everybody just knows, how to mesh together, right? Different periods, totally different attitudes. And that's something that hit me like that first, second, and third year. I was like, wow, man, it's like you're navigating a little society within your classroom there. And if they have the connection, then they got the buy-in, and that's how I've been trying to, do it. A little bit of sense of humor thrown in, because some of this stuff is really boring, like you said, so you gotta be relatable,
Andy, you hit the nail on the head when you called it our class.
Yeah.
Yeah, our class.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only way. I think the only way to do it is make everybody buy in, make everybody feel they're part of it. It's no different than a team. Make everybody buy in.
Exactly.
On a team, it's the locker room. In a classroom, it's in the room together, but it's our class. You might be up front, but you're part of the class, and that's brilliant. And in terms of getting them interested in other things, that's a very fine line. That's tap dancing in the minefield, because
100%.
Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's not going back in. So you got to be very careful. And that's a master teacher right there. I love that. And the fact that you would come up with the life and times of Euclid and make it exciting. I mean,
So, okay, funny story. One time, Pete Marty suggests to me, Donald Duck in Math Magic Land. I watched one time in a math class, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. Dude, I went to YouTube and I looked at it. It is very relevant to a lot of the stuff, 90% of stuff we do in geometry. So there were times where I showed Donald Duck in Math Magic Land, and we had like discussions afterwards, and it was really interesting,
Hey,
You
Man,
got to
by
be,
any means
right?
necessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good call by Pete. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, man. It was great. It gets into whole like Pythagorean's theorem and how he sort of realized that there was harmony in numbers, and then numbers led to harmony in music, and how musical scales are very similar to what we do in math. He got into the golden ratio, right? So all of these topics were really interesting, and it again, it had them buy in, right? You show this other video that I love is called the Infinite Hotel, and it's like an animation getting into the fact that there's levels of infinity, right? There's not just the countable numbers of infinity, but what about between 0 and 1? There's an infinite amount of numbers between 0 and 1, and it's really interesting. But again, it's like you have to make them buy in, right? So it's a really cool graphic and the whole animation. And that's honestly, I try to like be a caricature sometimes so that
Sure.
they can buy in. You
Sure.
have to have some kind of sense of humor sometimes and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
just as examples of what you were talking about. Yeah.
Bro, I wish I'd had you as a math teacher. I might have learned something. But, you know, talking about, your love of sports and everything and classrooms and locker rooms, you coached football here for 17 years, and it was an extraordinary 17 years as a position coach, running back coach.
Yeah.
And I feel pretty confident saying this, knowing Columbus football. You probably had the greatest consistent run of talent at a position that anybody has ever coached. The names of the guys you coached at running back.
Yeah.
I mean, Jakari Gord, Jaron Jones, Brandon Ratcliffe, Daryl Chestnut, Lorenzo Woodley, CJ Henderson, Ashton Armstrong, Henry Parrish, and I know I missed a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, my God.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about this. And I love hearing people talk about this, that coaching is just teaching outside.
Dude, you nailed it. That's 100% how it is, right? All of the techniques that make an effective teacher make an effective coach, and vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about the connection. You got to be relatable. Like if you're teaching them how to run, power, the X's and O's might be a little boring. Might be like, I don't want to deal with it. But when you have that buy-in from them, and when you lead them to a path to be successful, when you get in it with them and you're passionate about it and you explain, this is what we're trying to do. This is what you want to see. This is your footwork. This is how you approach this block, et cetera, right? They see your buy-in. It's relatable to them, right? All of the stuff that you do in position drills and all the stuff that you do in unit and when the offense is getting together in a teaching period, right? You have to have that connection with the player, right? And you have to, like I said, make it relatable. With some of them, over the years, my goodness, I mean, not just the guys that you mentioned, but I mean, I don't even know how many running backs overall that I've coached, and then on JV and freshmen and the fullbacks and everything,
yeah.
right? Some of them have a natural, God-given, innate ability to do that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they take that talent and they apply it to how the scheme fits for that talent, that's when they ascend. That's when they ascend to greatness, right? And it is 100% true, the adage that good players will make you a good coach. Because credit to those guys. They taught me things that I used in later classes and things like that. They taught me what works. They taught me what doesn't work. They taught me when they respond a certain way, not everybody reacts to coaching a certain way. Others react better to different types of coaching, right? And it was just honestly a pleasure to sit back sometimes when they had put it all together. Not a credit to me, but to them 100%, and see what they did on the football field. I still have chills when I think about some plays and some moments throughout those years that those guys did. and I was just 100% blessed. Like you said, I can't, like when I was there, maybe defensive backs, we had a high talent field, quarterback, but those running backs, man, if you look at their D1 and NFL play,
forget about it.
I mean, I was literally like, I'm just blessed to be here coaching you guys, and it was a privilege to get all those guys. And the fullbacks, by the way, we had some, may I say we had some badass fullbacks.
Oh, you had some killers at fullback.
I mean, absolute studs, knock you into the dirt, man.
No.
It was a privilege.
No. Georgie Lorenzo, people like that. I mean, come on.
Absolutely,
they were,
man.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know what you said, Andy, and this is true. You were very humble about, yes, you recognize you had great talent, but you were also smart enough. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And don't try to make them do things a certain way because you think that's the way it should be done, because then you're messing with Mother Nature.
That's right.
And a bad coach will make a great player bad real fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So that you tweak the things, you adjust the things that won't change who they are.
Correct.
And you make it fit to what we need for whatever the assignment calls. You know what I mean? Be it ball security, be it pass pro, whatever, right? And then, like you said, you use, all right, what is his strength? Okay, this guy has great footwork. All right, I'm going to focus on his footwork to get his upper body involved in a block. Or, okay, this guy has great hands. I'm going to focus on him in pass concepts. All that stuff, right? And that's, again, you sort of see that, and it heightens what they can do, right? They had great vision. Do you think I was going to tell Jakari how to read next level on zone? He was doing it as good and better than I was. I'm not, man, that guy was, he would see things and I'm like, how the heck did he see that guy flowing over top out of his peripheral vision and cut back underneath? We weren't even looking at that play side. How did he see it, right? Like stuff like that, man. It was just, like I said, it was a pleasure to coach them, and just, they gave me a wealth of experience to use as I went forward to help other guys.
There you go.
Know what I mean? And to make, the Jaron Joneses and the Jakari Gores helped out Brandon Radcliffe, who helped out the guys you said, Lorenzo and Chestnut and Austin, who helped out Henry Parrish, who helped out E.J. Donaldson, Colin Alford, all of those guys, right?
Exactly.
It's like a building block of this brotherhood where they all sort of come together to ascend not only themselves, but the program and the school, in that sense of the football program. So, I mean, credit to them, man. They bought in, right? They had that love for the game. They had the love for the sea. They had the love for their teammates, right? Like they went all out for their teammates, man. Henry Parrish was one of the greatest leaders that I ever saw. Like he would put people in check, okay, all over the offense and defense, It's natural born, man. And you just sort of, that's what he's good at. I am going to nurture that. And that's how he's going to grow. And that's what we did, that's what we tried to do for the most part, And
you did it well. And you got to coach in 2 state championship games. And that's pretty amazing. Yeah, man. Now, let's go from the really good to the frustrating. You're a lifelong Dolphin fan, and I'm sorry. The number of people at Columbus that remember 72 and 73 and all that, I don't think there's a dozen people there that actually witnessed that.
No.
So your devotion, while admirable, is questionable too, because most Miamians, they're fair weather fans. Winning, they're on.
Right.
As soon as it goes wrong, they jump off. But you've been on no matter what. Where does that come from?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know. I joke about it with Alex Trujillo every now and then because he's a Bears fan, right?
Yeah.
And my first big Dolphins memory was Bears-Dolphins, 1985.
85. Yeah.
I mean, amazing. Marino was, the defense, Bears defense. Yeah, thanks. I just have these wonderful core memories of, speaking of Marino, and those teams with Shula, that, they never won the Super Bowl. They got there when I was a little kid in 84. I think I was 8 years old. But there was just a passion there. I just loved the game. And, they were the team that I gravitated towards, right? I the comebacks that Marino would stage, the physical talent that he displayed in just purely passing the ball.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like that. Now you can argue, well, what makes a quarterback a winning quarterback, and is there Brady? But as far as arm talent, mechanics, pure passer, ball is out. Okay, Marino is just amazing, right?
Fastest release of all time.
Ever.
Yeah.
And so, as a kid, I started playing Pee Wee here at Columbus a little bit, and I just loved it, And so I became a big passionate fan. Forced my dad to get tickets, and I would force my godfather to buy me season tickets and whatever. And thus began the purgatory of Dolphin fanhood, right? Because it's always like, you climb the mountain and then you fall back down. It's a Sisyphean task, if you will.
Oh man,
being a Dolphins fan.
That boulder keeps rolling back down, bro.
It's really disappointing every year, seemingly. You know what? It occurred to me the other day, right? So like when I started teaching here in 2001, Dolphins have not won a playoff game since I've started teaching here.
That's correct.
That's kind of scary,
yes. Yeah.
And the kids nowadays, they're like, oh yeah, that team's garbage, because they're 16, 17, 18 years old. We've been the height of mediocrity for that long. You know what I mean? So
incredibly average, Andy. Incredibly average.
Yes.
God bless you.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's not easy. But
it's not.
I'm hard, man. Aqua and coral. It's not orange. It's not orange. It's aqua and coral. All right? Just for the record.
I just thought of something. Your enthusiasm for teaching. You are legendary, infamous, whatever, for being so intense in your lesson and so engaged and so dialed in. And then the PA comes on like the voice of an angel earlier. And I know for a fact that you have said the name in vain of Mr. McKeon, Mr. Pugh, myself, Mr. Linfors, Mrs. Fernandez.
Yeah.
Rumors of, clocks being ripped off of walls and things like that.
Rumors. Hearsay.
I used to get a kick out of it. A kid would come down to my office and say, hey, sir, man, Aviles really sent you to hell today for that move your car announcement. I said, I don't blame him. I get it. I used to do the same thing, because you're right at that moment. The epiphany's about to happen.
Right.
It's all going to come together, and then it just topples, and you ain't getting it back. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about, what did you say? Once the toothpaste is out of the
tube, it's not going back in.
Forget it. Yeah, man. And look, you were always very cordial. Pardon the interruption. I think you threw in a few. I'm sorry, Mr. Aviles. This is a long one. It's just that sometimes it's exactly what you just said, right? Like you're on the breakthrough of, man, this is a really tough concept. I hope I can get them to da-da-da. They have a quiz, whatever. And it's right there. It's right there. Boop! Pardon the interruption. Well, the following 30 students. And you're like, there we go, right? So, and then it's like, how are you going to ring them back in? It's like herding cats at that point.
No, it is. It is.
So that's my thing. And look, man, nothing against Chris McKeon, Mr. Pugh, yourself, Bob Linfors, whoever I'm forgetting. I'm probably forgetting Juan Gomez in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing against you guys personally. I never cursed you out or anything like that. I mean, I might have said, I cannot believe these freaking announcements. I cannot believe this and that and the other, but I respectfully never crossed the line, man. I respect you guys too much.
Yeah, you curse the message, not the messenger. That's fine.
Exactly, man. But it's just tough. It's tough.
Dave Eisenberg. Yeah. Our pep rallies back then were seen out of Gladiator in the first place. And then Eisenberg with his Aviles.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Oh man. So God bless Dave. May he rest in peace, man. A true legend, someone that, when I came back, there were guys like yourself. You gave me a lot of tips starting out, recommended a book. Guys like Bob Linfors, OB, Dave Eisenberg, okay, Fred Foyle, may he rest in peace. Panzer, like those guys are the ones. You guys are the ones that I said, okay, I can do this, but I gotta stand on the shoulders of giants, okay? Because you guys really showed us how to do it the right way. Okay. And you talk about passion and enthusiasm and what have you. I saw Fred Panzer simulating Hamlet once in my senior year class. He's Hamlet. Dude sitting in the desk is Polonius, and Fred's doing, and forsooth, blah, 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 and he's with the sword. This is the scene where Polonius is behind the curtain.
Okay.
So, and we had one of our, God bless him, great guys. Can I say his name or
It's go ahead.
Mario Garcia Serra, wherever you are, God bless you. I still remember this is a core memory of my senior year. He's reading Polonius, the pompous, arrogant, Polonius, and Fred's doing Hamlet, and he's and poor Mario's like, Fred's poking him, okay? So Mario's like this, and Fred's in the middle of the soliloquy, and Fred gives a and Mario tips over and falls backward, papers fly in the air. Panzer's like, we are dying. We are peeing our pants. Okay? What a story, right? I never forgot that. I learned Hamlet. That's the passion that all you guys gave, including Dave Eisenberg, that I said, you know what, man? If I'm going to do this and do this well, that's how I need to be. You know what I'm saying?
That's perfect, Eddie.
Yeah, right. It's like I'm saying, that's a part of who I am. Like that's Columbus is a part of who I am, and those core memories of all you guys and those who aren't here, may they rest in peace, man. Like that's what I brought in as a foundational piece, you know? And so I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for that. Talking about Dave, how all of that sort of the genesis of that was, so we used to have senior faculty basketball games. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So as a young teacher, I thought I could participate in whatever. I had delusions of grandeur. So we had some rough classes back in 2000, 2001, 2002. And so they would egg me on. Oh, sir, be in the basketball game. Yeah. Dude, so like one game I showed up and all my sophomores and juniors had like pom-poms and freaking signs and in like 2002, 2003. And I'm like, I didn't know what the hell to do. And I'm like, I got to play basketball now? So they were, they were going crazy. Like I remember like guys like Anthony Amore, Danny Menendez. This was back like 2002, right? So Dave, I guess, saw this and it was it was dying off. And then Dave got his signs, God bless him. And I'll never forget the first day I go down there and I'm playing, I think it was a basketball game or a pep rally. I can't remember what it was. And I show up and I see him there with these two giant art clipboards. And he's got Avi, Les. And he's like, Avi, Les. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, and I think I may have like, no, put that down. He's like, you know, Dave, man, he was amazing. He was the best. And he just kept going with it. And after a while, John, I loved it. It was great, man. Like it was a part of the spirit. I might have been a little like flustered at first, but man, when he kept doing it over and over again, it was like, it was great, man. Like just to see everybody, not because of me or anything like that, but just to get everybody involved, you know, to get the pep rally sort of, you know, the school spirit that we have there, you know, and what he brought to it. And guys like Marinelli have, you know, continued that and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how it happened. And, you know, we always used to joke about it. And he's like, oh, we got a pep rally. You know, like, you know what that means? I was like, yeah, Dave, I know what that means, you know. So that was another wonderful memory. And he had them, boy. Like they were like, Avi, last, yeah, and he would vary the pace. Like it's like, wait a minute, you've done this before, Dave. Were you like at Hurricanes games? Are you Sebastian the Ibis? Like what is he? You know?
I think he was a cheerleader in college, but that's a whole nother story. But no, wrestling coach who was an art teacher. I mean, come on, man. Only at Columbus. Yeah. You know, we're going long, and I don't care because we're on a roll.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
You have a side gig, career, whatever. You do improv.
Yeah.
And when I first heard about you doing improv, I was like, okay, but this podcast has shown exactly why you can do improv. So do me a favor, set straight the difference, because a lot of people get confused between stand-up and improv.
Right. Okay. So stand-up comedy, the one that everybody's familiar with, you write all of your jokes. Now they're not verbatim because you are predicating some of it off of audience reaction, right? So you have sort of, let's say, spaces like pauses in music. It's like a rhythm, right? You go through,
Okay.
right? So you rehearse it. You know what you're doing. You know what you're going to say. You're going to run 30 minutes because a club will say, you're going to get the 15-minute time slot after so-and-so at blah, blah, blah. So you got to be like strict with your stuff, right? So everything's prepared. Everything's planned. The only thing that's sort of new and authentic is if the audience reacts. That's stand-up. Improv. The best thing that I could tell you to get you an idea of improv is the game show, Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So Whose Line Is It Anyway is traditional improv.
Okay.
So, for example, the two actors will enter a scene with only prompts of, give me, they'll ask the audience. Audience participation is huge. So they ask the audience, okay, give me a location where these two people would be. The airport, a bathroom, Starbucks, whatever. And the host will go with, the Grand Canyon. So now on the spot, those actors are in the Grand Canyon. And then they'll be like, okay, give me an object that you found in your junk drawer. Scissors, blah, blah, blah. A pen. Great. So now they're in the Grand Canyon with a pen, and they have to start the scene. And then there's usually like a humorous twist, right? So there's this game called New Choice. So they'll be doing a scene where they're relating to each other, and every time the host rings a bell, bing, new choice. The actor has to, on the spot, change the previous line of dialogue to whatever comes to his mind.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it'll be like, bing, new choice. Because we're going up the hill with the donkey. Bing, new choice. Because we're going to go get a shake at McDonald's. Bing, new choice. Because we're going on a spaceship. And then they run with the spaceship. You see what I'm saying? So they got to make up stuff like that on the spot. And you can see how it gets humorous because the human mind's randomness takes you to all these odd places. And next thing you know, you've gone from the Grand Canyon with a pen to the moon with Einstein and a clown or something like that. So it can get really, really funny. And that's just one little type of game called New Choice. There's so many. And I've been doing that. I've taken a break recently, but I've been doing that since 2019, since I stopped coaching football. So
that's amazing. And please, I had a number of people say, listen, ask him when he's going to do improv. When's his next show? The people, I get it now. And improv is natural to teachers in a lot of ways anyway. I mean, Mr. O'Brien's class is one big improv for the last 45 years. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just throw something out there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Literally audience suggestions, the students, right? And, Sure. Let's talk about that guy. Sure, no problem. So yeah.
Andy, this has been a blast. Truly.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You are a very, very interesting guy, and a credit to this school, and your devotion to your students, your athletes, to your craft is amazing. And so I know when I was in school, I don't even think I even knew the guy's name. It's a little bit different now when you were in schools, when he was heading towards, sainthood and everything. But now Marist it's what we're based on all the time. So
absolutely. Yeah.
What does being Marist mean to you, Andy?
Yeah, that's a great question. One person that really, let's say, solidified that for me is Brother Pat McNamara. I mentioned him earlier, right? My first year, this is being Marist, right? My first year, I had an extremely rowdy class, right?
Okay.
They were out of control. And I think it was one of these weird schedules where they're released early or whatever. And they were going crazy. I couldn't really get a hang of it. Didn't have the teacher toolbox that I needed to get everybody in line, right?
Yeah.
So my doors open. Ironically, by the way, this happened in A26 also. Now that wow, that's weird. Okay.
Wow. That is
A26, dude. Whatever. Anyway, so they're going nuts. I got a kid doing this is like 2001. I got a kid doing a striptease. I got two kids fighting each other. I got guy drawing on the chalkboard. And Rowdy is, all of a sudden you could hear a pin drop. And I'm screaming at them and I'm like, why is everyone silent? behind me.
Yeah.
In walks Brother Pat, Brother Kevin, Mr. McKeon, and Juan Gomez.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
First
Jesus.
year, like a month in, and I'm like,
Oh,
well,
bro.
time
Oh,
to
bro.
get the resume.
It's been good.
Great, fine, wonderful month. Okay, I'm out. Okay. And so McKeon and Gomez start, and Brother Pat pulls me outside, and I'm like, he's like, Andy, what happened? It's like, well, brother, we just got back from so and so. They were very rowdy, and then this kid started blah blah blah. He's like, it's okay, I'll take care of it. Can you tell me who the ones are that started it? And I'm thinking, this is an odd direction that Brother Pat is going, and I certainly didn't expect this. I'm like, well, this kid, and da. He's like, okay, thank you. So that's it. He goes away, class gets under control. Fast forward to, I think, the next day or 3 days down the line. I go into class, they're super quiet, and 7 kids come up to my desk and give me a letter. And I'm like, what is this? It's letters of apology for what they did the other day. Okay? And I was like, oh, thank you guys. What? Oh, no, we talked to Brother Pat. So I went down and I thanked Brother Pat. And I said, Brother Pat, I mean, my goodness, thank you so much for what you've done. I was out of line. I promise you. And it's like, look, Andy, you're a young teacher. Okay? Things like this can happen. But, you have a lot of potential. Okay? Don't worry about it. Grow from this. Move on and just look at these kids with a lens of compassion, like I'm sort of looking at you. That's kind of what he was saying. And I was like, it blew me away, because I was literally expecting, okay, I'm fired. It's over, right?
Yeah,
what
I get
Brother
that.
Pat did, I mean, he got those kids, called them in one by one, and had them write a letter of apology to me. Forget, fire me or whatever. Like, he encouraged me and he built me up and he boosted me and he said, it's okay. This happens. Think positively. Let's move forward. We got you. I got your back. I'll take care of you. We'll support you. I mean, if that's not Marist, I don't know what is, right? Like what he did, what Juan Gomez and Chris McKeon and I'm forgetting someone right now, what they did, that was truly, remarkable. And I'm just so grateful. Marist is looking at people as Jesus would look at a person, right? Marist is being there for them. It's service, right? It's putting their needs in front of yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one common, the way of Mary, right? That a lot of people have gone with that. Absolutely correct, right? Saying yes to your vocation and your calling, saying yes to what God has put in your heart, right? And that's how I see it, right? You have to, I sort of look at my students like Brother Pat looked at me that day, right? And I was like, man, that was moving, right? That was touching. That to me, look, I've never forgotten it. This is 25 years ago. And so
yeah.
If I can do that to one of these kids on a minuscule level for anything, then if I've reached one of them like Brother Pat reached me, I've done my job. I've done what I'm here for. I'm Marist. You know what I mean?
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, totally.
And Andy, the kid that was taking his clothes off in your class that day is probably a very successful attorney in Coral Gables now. So you never know, bro.
Perhaps.
Absolutely. Perhaps not.
There's an Emperor's New Clothing there joke. But yeah, absolutely. Who knows? The guy's probably got his own.
Oh my God.
Who knows?
Andy, thank you so much. This has been a blast. Truly an enjoyable one.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot
Appreciate you taking the time, brother. And thank you for everything you do. Yeah. Seriously. And Explorer Nation, I hope you've enjoyed this interesting insight into the mind of Andy Aviles. A lot of things going on up there, but a great guy. This is why we're the best school in the country. Yeah. So until next time, as always, buenos tiempos and adelante, boys. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you very much, sir, for having me on. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.